What's up everyone, it's me Ollie, and today I wanted to go over the state of Barbarian in the Season 8 PTR and going over the Season 8 as a whole, what we have seen and what, we might expect in the future. First of all, before we get into the video, you might be asking, isn't this video a bit late? The PTR was like 2 weeks ago. Well, I've been taking my time to reflect on the game and I've been extremely busy doing other stuff. So yeah, no. Without any further delays, we'll be going over the leveling and progression, the season powers and seasonal zone, the difficulty, the Barbarian builds that you can expect from better and worst. Basically, we're going to be clearing them out a bit. We're going to address the patch notes and what they tried to fix and failed to do so. And lastly, we're also going to be talking about some of the things that you might not be thinking about, but you should expect going into the Season 8 with this not stat squish, but like the nerfs that everything got, right? Basically, since the pit got buffed, everything else got kind of an indirect nerf, right? Now, for everything, as always, you're going to be able to see it in the timestamp down below. So, if you want to jump around, you can. Starting off with the leveling and progression. Honestly, it's a bit harder, but I enjoyed it. Last season, you're just basically in Torment 4 in the first couple of hours. You just had to get to level 60 and you're in Torment 4. Now you might have to spend, assuming you're playing one of the strongest builds, you might have to spend around 1-2 days, depending if you're a blaster or not, basically in T3 farming a bit, and then you can jump into T4. And honestly, I think that's good. Getting to one of my feedback on the last season, the worst things about it was that it just felt too short. You just got everything done immensely, super quickly, right? It was just not enjoyable for that reason, and I think now spreading it out and you actually have to work a bit for your power just feels way better. When it comes to the seasonal powers, a lot of people were saying they were extremely strong and stuff like that. A lot of people just didn't like that we had to play around the powers themselves. First of all, when it comes to Barbarian, the seasonal powers are not that strong. Yes, they can simplify, they can kind of trivialize the Torment 4 after you actually level them up a bit. But there's a couple of things to remember here. Barbarian cannot scale fire dot damage. So, yeah. And you also can't really scale any of the other damage. Besides Orvar's lobbed bombs, those you can actually get some good damage out of it, but everything else, they're just kind of utility for the most part. But yeah, for the rest of the things, they likely nerf damage numbers. You also will not have 300 Paragon like you had in the PTR, right? So I'm not expecting them to be that strong. One thing that I really have problems with is the seasonal zone. That's basically not even a seasonal zone. What we got in Season 7, I really enjoyed it. Again, it was short, but you went there and you had fun. You're just always killing demons or something, right? You always had something to do. It was fun. This one, it really just feels like a chore. It is not satisfying to do. You do it 1 or 2 times. It's not really that satisfying. By what they described, I was expecting a boss gauntlet, which isn't what that is. But it's nothing. That's nothing for a seasonal zone, and I'm honestly really disappointed. I hope they somehow add something else, or maybe not everything was on the PTR. I'm still on the copium, but it is what it is. When it comes to the difficulty of the game is extremely more difficult now, to the point that for Barbarian, at the very least, you either play Earthquakes or you're not getting to T4 for a good while. Now, that's more on the balancing thing that we're gonna cover in a second by how the builds are balanced around. If we just take the top performing builds for each class, I do believe everything is in the right place. Again, you take 1 or 2 days to actually get through Torment 3, maybe a bit more if you're a bit slower, and I think that's fine. That was a good progression, I think, difficulty-wise, at the very least, right? You also cannot expect to be speed farming the Pit 100 right now. You're probably going to be speed farming around the level 80, maybe 90 if you got a really good build. we'll see. Most builds are just stagnating at around 100, 110. So the only one that got like 120 was a Sork build, and that was exploiting one of the... Not exploiting, but like using one of the boss powers that was just busted on Sork because they could really scale it up. But yeah, for that, I think the difficulty is in the right place. But again, if you're playing the strongest build, if you're not, you're gonna be struggling. On that point, when it comes to Barbarian builds, you got the S plus or S, which are gonna be Earthquakes, any sort of Earthquake variant. Bash Auto will be up top. Whirlwind Auto is a bit below. It will depend on some of the how some of the powers work, but it's likely a bit below. And surprisingly, we do have like a minium Earthquakes builds going on, especially again because Oribar Loud Bombs reduces the cooldown of ultimates, and whenever you cast an ultimate, you also cast the bombs, which do a lot of damage. And like I said earlier, it's one of it's the one power from the season powers that we can actually scale and get good damage on. So, you know, together with that, the minium is actually looking pretty good, like an average of miniums, earthquakes, and the boss power, right? It's actually looking really good. I don't think it will be better than Bash Hotta, but it probably will be close there. Now, everything else, it's likely on the B or even C tier. You can get some of the core power, some of the core skills to actually do like 70, 75, maybe 80 if you really specialize on them. But if you just go with them, you'll not get to T4 in like a week or something. You'll likely struggle to get to T4. Eventually down the line, you'll be able to farm it, right? But just go Earthquakes. Honestly, it's Earthquakes at S, and everything is like B- or C for Barbarian. It's just how it is. I don't expect them to make that big of a changes going onto the season. And I don't think anything broken was missed. Because, like, you know, going now on to addressing the patch notes, a lot of the things that they introduced do not work with each other. You can see where their mind was with it, but let's go over Mighty Throw, for example. You've got the aspect that now actually gives you a bunch of damage. By the way, I think it's 500 or something. That's insane for a single aspect, regardless. On top of it, it also scales with your cooldown reduction up to 75, which is the cap of cooldown reduction, right? And, you know, that's really good. It gives you a lot of damage. But they changed the third blade to now, instead of just resetting the cooldown and functioning like a core skill, it now has 100% cooldown reduction. Which means, if you couple this together with the aspect, you no longer, you know, have a Mighty Throw that does not have CDR. Your Mighty Throw will still have, like, even with a lot of ranks to it, your Mighty Throw will still have around, like, 10 seconds cooldown or something like that. They just don't mesh together that well. And the unique that Mighty Throw got, that every 12 seconds or something, you just do a lot more damage. Again, that doesn't work that well. Like, you really don't want to stay there doing something else for 12 seconds so you can actually do damage then, right? It just feels extremely bad. I have no idea what the point was, but whatever. The other one that I think was a bit weird was the changes they made to Whirlwind. You know, this affects me a lot because I love Whirlwind. Like, they basically just removed one of our passives and kind of baked it into Whirlwind itself. So Whirlwind itself didn't actually get a buff, it just stayed the same. I mean, if you go to the bleed route, it's a bit of a buff, but you don't really go to the bleed route anyway. And the passive they added does not complement Whirlwind in any way, shape, or form. It's just supportive for other classes. And mind you, every passive on core skills indirectly or directly affects them. Some might just extend Berserk or, you know, increase damage to vulnerable enemies, but that affects the skill itself, even if indirectly, right? If you just increase the damage to vulnerable enemies, your skill itself will do more damage. This one they gave to Whirlwind does not. This one only buffs weapon mastery skills. So there's no way it will buff Whirlwind. And worst of it is that you don't even want to use that on a weapon mastery skill. That's the thing. Unless you can somehow snapshot it, which is something they don't want you to do, apparently, according to what they said, it's not even that, it's not even good for them. Like, Mighty Troll does not even want to use that. I don't know if the idea was for you to just Whirlwind for 12 seconds and then you Mighty Throw or something, but like, people are not gonna do that. That's not even good. Like, that's sort of like a game like Diablo and most ARPGs really want you to focus on a skill, right? They don't want you to be everything, right? It just does not work. At least how the game set up, it just does not work. Not only that, they also changed cores. A lot of people were saying, oh, it's a massive buff, whatever. They didn't understand the math. It's not really that big of a buff. And it's only a big buff in single target. In AoE, after a point, it's not a buff. You could argue that it now properly scales with all the multipliers to Whirlwind, which it kind of didn't properly work before. But that was just it not working, right? Which should have been fixed anyway. I don't know, dude. I have no idea what their goal was with that. Again, they tried to do something and they completely failed. Everything else, you know, Earthquake's got a massive nerf all around, everything. Sorry for that. But, you know, everything else got a small buff. This didn't really fix anything. The difficulty got higher, right? So, I don't know. Regardless of that, there's, you know, one of the things that I think you're gonna have a hard time this season, especially, again, since most builds will be around the 100, 110 maybe, and that's like min-max, right? Getting your glyphs to 100, especially if you're playing an off-meta build, you'll not be able to do it. If you're not playing Earthquakes on Barbarian, you're not getting your glyphs to 100. I'm not sure if they thought of that, if they are intended to reduce the amount you need to get it to max, instead of being 100, maybe 70, 80, I don't know. But as it stands, if you're not playing Earthquakes on Barbarian, you're not getting your glyphs to 100, which means your build will be weaker. Like, not only weaker because your skill is weaker, but weaker because you cannot actually get all your stuff online. I hope they fix that. Like, I have already played Earthquakes this season. I was kind of looking forward to the changes they were making to Whirlwind. Maybe playing a pure Whirlwind build. It's clearly not going to be a thing. We'll see. We'll be playing Earthquakes next season unless they do something else big. I really hope the season zone is actually improved upon, because else that's just going to be, you know, if you're playing Earthquakes, you're just going to get, you know, 2-3 days, you're going to get 24, farm a bit, and after a week, you're just gone. There's nothing there, realistically. You know, yes, you could farm for 300... Oh, yeah, again, 300 Paragon. Who the hell is gonna get 300 Paragon now? Like, imagine this. They made a season that really incentivizes you to scale your Paragon so you can do more damage with the season powers, right? But you can't actually farm a lot of Paragon because, you know, before you're farming and you're taking like a month to farm 300. And that was doing like 150s, right? Without any exploits or anything. That was taking you a month with 150s. Will not be able to speed... If you're lucky, you might get a build that can speed farm 100. And that's if you're lucky. You'll likely be speed farming 80, 90s. How the hell are you gonna get 300 points on a season that really wants you to scale Paragon? I'm not sure what the deal is there, but, you know, we'll see. I really enjoyed last season, although some people didn't. Some people are just taking away for PoE and stuff, which I will be playing, by the way, the new season. Coming out tomorrow or in 2 days, depending on when the video releases. But yeah, rumbling, I'm not gonna rumble for more because I've just been rambling for the last 3 minutes or something. But yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the Barbarian situation going into Season 8 and Season 8 as a whole, honestly, because I think that's more worrisome. But we'll see. And yeah, for the next time we see each other, I might be playing PoE and maybe Last Epoch, because, you know, we're gonna actually have 2 weeks between them, which is great. And then 2 weeks after that, we're back to Diablo on Season 8. Hopefully, they made changes and it's gonna be great. Hope, pray. But yeah, see you next time. Bye-bye. Make sure to subscribe and like the video.